a spotlight on MADC and the work of the Meridian Anti Drug Coalition in the past, but I wasn't able to deliver that information, so I have some additional things to cover today. So as I said when I introduced myself, my name is Kendall Nagy, and I'm the Meridian Anti Drug Coalition Director. And then I'm also an employee of the City of Meridian, working for the Meridian Police Department. And I've been working in this position since 2015, so I'm just about to start my 7th year here. And we do a lot of collaboration, and really the capacity and the collaboration is one of the strong points, and the sustainability of the coalition. And so I like to share that information to help other coalitions in whatever way that I can. And then also having empathy for those that are impacted by these topics, and growing up in a household where family members struggled with addiction and mental illness, and I guess traveling down that path. So I'm excited to share some information today, and I'm always willing to chat and share the lessons that I've learned over the last 6 years, and help you out in any way that I can. So as I said, there's really 2 staff that help do substance abuse prevention here for the city and the coalition. And this pie chart shows a little bit of the work that we do and kind of how it breaks down. I'm going to start at the federal level. Well, actually, let me go back just a little bit. You can see there that my title is listed on the top of this slide. And then down below, you'll see anti-drug coordinator, and that's currently a part-time position. And right now that position is unfilled. Cheryl had worked with us for 6 years, and she retired. And due to COVID and budget hearings, we're in the process of waiting to see if that position will be moved to a full-time position. We had put in that request based on some of the changes and everything that everybody's been through, especially some of the legislation that's been introduced that would impact revenue for municipalities throughout the state. We're not sure if we'll get that request granted. So I guess I throw that out there as just to plant a bug in your ears in case you know of people that might be interested. Watching the City of Meridian's hiring webpage might be something that you want to share to see how that progresses. So going back to this pie chart, at the federal level, most of that involvement is grant funding and also training. And so grant funding would include the DFC and the SPIF. We have received both of those in the past. And then training largely at that level is through Community Anti Drug Coalitions of America, or CADCA, which most of you I think are familiar with. So great resources there at the federal level. We also do some collaboration and get information that helps with policy, from smart approaches to marijuana. They do a lot of work at the national level, and that's obviously been helpful with all the different policy changes that we've seen with cannabis. State level partners, obviously I'm here speaking to you with one of our state partners, which is Community Coalitions of Idaho. And that expands to Idaho Office of Drug Policy, the Idaho State Liquor Division, Idaho Transportation Division, or Department, excuse me, Radar. So there's a lot of different partners at the state level as well. I've worked with Association of Idaho Cities and presented at their conference before. And then this partnership and collaboration includes not only funding, but implementation of strategies, additional resources, education. And so there's a lot of great opportunities for partnership at the state level as well. Within the city, we're really lucky to have had my predecessor set up a great sustainability plan for the coalition, and a lot of buy-in from key decision makers. And so the support of City Council and the mayor, the chief, has really helped this coalition and its sustainability through the years, having both of my position and that part-time position funded by the city, so that then grant funds can be directly used to implement those prevention strategies within the community. So that means that our fiscal agent is city's finance team. I also collaborate with them, and they'll help draft up documents for different events. And when we need legal counsel, it's there for us. That would include a preemptive ordinance to try to maintain city ordinance as it is, should there be any changes in cannabis related policy at the state or federal level. We just had a liability agreement drafted up to possibly partner with Blue Cross, excuse me, of Idaho for the next prescription take back. So there's little areas where that comes in, and it's very helpful to have those resources available. And then partnering with the Department of Parks and Recreation for events is also helpful. We have a lot of city events where they already have an event that generates a lot of attendees, and then we can go and provide resources and provide prevention education at those events as well. The coalition work that we do and then the police department work that we do overlaps quite a bit. And the coalition has the 12 sector reps. I'm sure that the majority of you are familiar with the standard strategic prevention framework and the DFC and having those sector representatives working within the coalition. And then the police department, our biggest collaboration is with the crime prevention team, and then also the school resource officers. Sorry, I'm tripping on my words this morning. And then also the crime analysis unit. They are a big help in helping us with data and looking at juvenile arrests and citations, and pulling together other helpful information when it comes to grant writing time, and really helping us select our environmental change strategies that we are going to focus on. So I already provided a little bit of the background on this, but really this gives you kind of the time frame. I think this is helpful for people to know. I've heard over the years that people have a lot of respect and questions about how has MADC gotten where it is. Well, this is just kind of a quick historical overview, and that it was started by the executive order of Mayor Tammy in 2004. And then the anti-drug coordinator position, which was at the time grant funded and a part-time position, came to be in 2005. The second position, which is the position I currently serve in, was in 2009, and that was the full-time grant funded position. And then really after that first decade, there was a big turning point where there was a lot of support and buy-in from those key stakeholders and key decision makers. And that is when the two positions became city funded, again, allowing us to use our other funding completely for strategy implementation in the community. So this is kind of just a little overview for those of you that might not be as familiar with this coalition. We have 12 executive committee members, and those are our sector representatives. And David Phillips, of course, CCI's executive director, serves as our media sector rep. We have about 30 plus active members, and that's gone down a little bit this past year with COVID. Some of these numbers have been impacted, obviously, this past year, but it's holding pretty steady. We have over 400 people that receive our monthly email updates. That includes our meeting minutes, new resources, the latest prevention news, some of the different policy changes that happen through the legislative session and elections and whatnot. We have 40 plus prevention partners that are community partners. And these partnerships help kind of fill the gaps and where maybe a grant doesn't approve use of funds for food or meals, we can reach out to our community partnerships like Walmart and LaPeep. And for our recovery breakfast in September, LaPeep has provided French toast and excuse me, fresh strawberries over the years. So there's a ton of different partners. Wienhoff Drug Testing, who does drug testing throughout the state of Idaho. The founder of that company resides here in Meridian, and they've been a great support and match us in some of our purchases of our drug tests that we provide in our family prevention packets. So those are some examples of the community partners who don't necessarily show up to every meeting and follow everything closely of what we do, but when we reach out, they're there to support us. So, and then with all of the different partnerships that we have and the memberships and the active members throughout the coalition, that is what makes it possible for us to have about 70 plus events or trainings that we participate in. Now, that does not mean that they originate with the Meridian Anti Drug Coalition, but it's an event or a training that we show up, like I said, with the Department of Parks and Recreation events where there's already a lot of community members. We might set up our natural high booth and interact with community members and share those parent prevention packets, which include those free drug tests. And through our data and tracking of who we reach out to, in one of our best years, we've reached out to over 21,000 community members, so about a quarter of our population here in Meridian. And this is just a little graphic. I pulled this out of our annual education and prevention report. This report is something that we have created over the last 5 years. I had asked the question 5 years ago when we were deep in the midst of our SPIF grant reporting and requirements, and learning the importance of tracking these numbers, and asked how we track that. And we didn't have anything in place at the time. And so we've worked internally within the police department as an organization to put together a report that tracks some of these numbers. And then we share those with our stakeholders. And we get a lot of great feedback, in particular with West Ada School District, who's a great partner of ours, who have the largest school district in the state and have nearly 40,000 students. So you can see here, the red line shows the number of community members that we reach in a given month. This is kind of an annual snapshot. And then the blue bars indicate the number of events in the months. So spring and fall has always been extremely busy for us. And again, this is going to look completely different this year because of COVID. But I guess in our prime, that's how things were looking. So along the lines of Krista's presentation, and I didn't know that that's what she was going to focus on, but I saw a lot of parallels in education and working with schools. And as I said, we partner with West Ada School District. And so because we do so much, I just figured I'd focus in on our partnership with our school and education sector reps and the work that we do with West Ada. And so they've got this list of things that we do here. And Jeannie Bouchine is the counseling services and drug education coordinator. And so her and Dawn Tolan both work in that same capacity, and they have shared the role of school sector rep with our coalition for many, many years. And so a couple of things or examples of the things that we do. There's an annual counselor kickoff meeting that I attend and provide. I call them goodie bags, but it depends. But they're a bag of resources that we offer through MADC, which include, again, that parent prevention packet. And you'll hear me mention that a few times because that's a highly requested resource from out in the community. And we've been able to keep that and sustain that, and also helps with the data-driven prevention strategies that we choose. We teach in the life skills classes. We provide an abundance of Red Ribbon Week resources. We get grant funding from the Idaho State Liquor Division to have all school, middle school assemblies during Red Ribbon Week, where we have Natalie Marty come in and present. We've participated in the Sticker Shock campaign that's run statewide with Idaho State Liquor Division and the Office of Drug Policy. And you can see there's several more there. Spring safety flings during National Prevention Week in the spring, canine demonstrations, opportunities for youth to get involved with the coalition, volunteer at events, and then of course, I like to be able to provide letters of recommendation and help them as they head off in their next chapters if they're college bound. We work with the broadcast classes to create public service announcements, and then have been able to show those in the local theaters at the Village. And I mentioned the prevention packets, and then training as well. This week on Thursday, we are providing a adolescent drug trends training for counselors and administrators. And we've been told that there are about 200 people that will show up for that. So still staying busy despite COVID and some of the restrictions. Another example real quick, because I think that letting you know what's out there on our website could be one of the ways that we could be helpful to fellow coalitions throughout the state. This here is a list of the resources that we have featured on our website. They are in alphabetical order by topic, and alcohol, cannabis related resources. There's books, there's videos, there's downloadable PDFs. We have the legislative tracking brochure that we've all collaborated on, CCI and MADC. We have Meridian drug bulletins, which are specific bulletins that we've worked with the school resource officer team or other patrol officers when they've been out in the community and had drug arrests. They'll take photographs, and we'll work through the chain of command here at the police department to make sure that the information that we compile in those is okay to release. And then we create that drug bulletin to say, hey, yeah, this is happening in our community. And it's a great educational opportunity for parents to then pull that up and use that as an education piece. I know I'm running a little over on time, so I'm trying to go fast here. This here is just a visual that was sent out to all our sector reps recently, again, highlighting some examples of the different resources that are on our website. And hopefully this is something that could be helpful to some of you on the phone call today. And then to quickly wrap up, this is my contact information. And as I said, over the last 6 years, lots of lessons learned, and I'm happy to chat anytime or answer any questions about any of the other topics or legislative questions, you name it. So I appreciate the time and I apologize for going over. I know we've had that happen the last few meetings.